If you watch movies, you might have noticed some professions pop up a lot more often than others. Some honorable mentions are detectives, bank robbers, politicians, and musicians. Is it better to use underrepresented jobs for your main characters so it seems original? Or go based off of what you know has been working in previous films? I have a theory that can be one way to choose your character's profession that is based off of the story and the plot. What do I mean? In the off-camera show, they interview Seth Rogen where he explains plot versus story. In Superbad, the plot is about high schoolers trying to lose their virginity before going to college. However, the story is about an end of a friendship because they're taking different paths in life. High Schoolers supports the plot. In Spike Jonze's Being John Malkovich, written by Charlie Kaufman, I was fascinated by how much was squeezed out of the character's job. So, how did Being John Malkovich pick the character's job to reflect the plot and the story? We follow Craig Schwartz, a struggling puppeteer who takes a job as a filing clerk. Craig finds a door while working, and this door leads to the mind of John Malkovich. He uses the portal to John Malkovich's mind as a business scheme with Maxine, and then eventually uses his puppeteer skills to control John Malkovich for his personal endeavors. That's using puppeteer for the plot. I realize Craig being a puppeteer is chosen for a poetic purpose. The poetic metaphor for being a puppeteer is we get to escape who we are, being under someone else's skin, thinking differently, moving differently, and feeling differently, as stated by Craig himself. There are 5 characters in the film whose story reflects the puppeteer metaphor: Craig, Lottie, Maxine, Captain Merton, and John Malkovich. Craig's story is that he's unsuccessful in life. He uses puppeteering to fantasize about succeeding in his life's failures. The woman he loves, who is not his wife, Maxine, does not find him attractive, and no one is willing to pay attention to his puppet craft. Only through puppeteering does Craig find success. He puppets John Malkovich and becomes a genius, completely revolutionizing culture. Craig also begins a relationship with Maxine, but just like his fantasy, as I mentioned before, when he gives up puppeteering John Malkovich, he's back to his life's failures, losing his career he built and losing Maxine. Lottie's story is about a character whose identity is lost. She doesn't seem to take care of herself and is obsessed with having pets. Lottie becomes Malkovich and realizes all along she wants to be a man. Lottie's pet obsession is about her filling that void inside of her of wanting to be a father, which she ends up being in the end of the movie. Her hair also looks different compared to what it used to, kind of showing us that now she's starting to take care of herself after she becomes what she's always felt inside. Maxine's story is about a character who knows who she is, the only person not to get tempted and to enter Malkovich's mind. Her life's philosophy is very sure of herself. She's the person everyone desires, and she knows how to get her way in life. Dr. Lester confesses to Lottie that he's Captain Merton, the person in the VHS tape who made the 7.5 floor. His story is about a person who fears death, preying on the youth to increase his longevity. Lastly, John Malkovich, representing the satire in the common misconception of being a celebrity. Most people imagine a celebrity's life as magical and grand compared to them. However, when the characters in the film become John Malkovich for 15 minutes, his life is shown as boring as ours. What I found hilarious is that even though experiencing that celebrity's life is no different than ours, everyone had this psychedelic transformative experience. This story shows that we should love who we are and not to waste time fantasizing about being someone else because no person is better than the other. So how do we pick our character's job like being John Malkovich? 2 ways you can go about this. 1, Find out what your story is about. Is there a profession that reflects your story, and can you build a plot around that profession? 2. Find the profession. What is the poetic metaphor of that profession that you can create a story that reflects it and build a plot around it? Rank stonerworthy. I have a few announcements I want to make. The first one is I made my first Patreon episode. This Patreon episode breaks down the story structure scene by scene of the Oscar-winning short film Neighbor's Window. This video will help you figure out how to outline your short films and make sure you're telling a story and not just a video. My goal is to upload once a month on my Patreon, but as soon as I can get help with editing, I can easily make 2 Patreon episodes a month. So check out my Patreon, you don't want to miss out on some excellent information. Also on my Patreon, I created a stonerworthy list. Right now the list is short, but as I continue making videos, the list will be growing. So check out the list anytime you're looking for a film to watch. The last announcement is that we're heading into February, and for February I will be breaking down some great and not so great romance movies. These videos will help us learn what tricks to help us create romances and what mistakes to avoid. I will also study some films made by Black cast, so I'm excited to see what February will bring. So if you're interested, hit subscribe, and that way you can keep updated. Thank you all, and see you next time.